and we're live. Hi to the listeners.
Hello.
Today's guest is GlitchxCity, as your artist name, right?
Yeah, it's actually GlitchxCity. I was like, you gotta say the X. The X is important.
The X is important. Yeah, and I would just call you Glitch for this episode. I guess it's a bit easier.
Yeah. No worries.
Do you want to give a quick introduction of yourself for the podcast listeners?
Oh, wow. Just putting me on the spot. I guess that's what a podcast is.
Yeah, I'm just... I started all the episodes like that.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Glitch. My artist name is GlitchxCity. I am a music producer and also a content creator. I focus a lot on Pokémon covers and remixes. I do a lot of originals, and I have scored for other projects outside of YouTube as well. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I came across one of your YouTube videos where you went on a shiny hunt for I can tell the name of
Jirachi or Arceus, one of those on my other channel.
Yeah, it was Arceus. Yeah, I'm super bad at pronouncing the English names of Pokémon because I played it in German.
Oh, gotcha.
And they have completely different names.
What's your favorite Pokemon? I have to ask. Like, I see your background. I'm like, wait a second, that's a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, exactly. And,
I love those.
Let me get the English name of the Pokemon. Just a second.
What is it in German? Maybe see if I can guess it.
Zorua. It's a little black-red cat.
Let's see. Black cat.
Oh, it's actually the same name. Zorua?
Oh, Zorua. Yeah.
Okay, I really like that one because I also like cats. Mine is like sleeping over there.
Oh, kitty.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but it was...
Oh, cat's awake now.
Yeah. And my camera is not holding it. Oh, here. And was it from Black and White? I'm not sure right
Yeah,
now.
it was Black and White.
And you got it as a gift there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember this is my absolute favorite Pokemon. What about yours?
Mine is Dragonair. See if you can see it on my mic.
Fair point. It's a really cool one. That's the first evolution, right?
The second one. So,
The second one.
Yeah. What's Dragonair in German? Is it the same name?
Dragoran is the first, I guess.
Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite.
No, Dratini is the first one. Yeah, then it's all the same. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is actually the same.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, but I already told that to Tenoshi, and it will be the one podcast before ours will go online. And Psyduck is called Anton.
Really?
But written with an E, like Anton.
Oh,
and
what?
Ente is the German word for a duck.
That would have been great if your favorite Pokemon was Psyduck.
Yeah, but I heard that a lot as a kid, when others like called me that, and I'm like, cannot hear it anymore.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's actually a super recent topic, because you told that you're a content creator, and I just saw all over all platforms today that now TikTok is down.
Yeah.
In the US.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. You still have access to it.
Yeah, I do. I also saw a friend of mine who's living in Japan, and he had a super funny story posted. I will scroll through TikTok for you. Just PayPal me like $100.
Yeah.
That was what a genius businessman move for real.
Yeah. The TikTok ban, it's I have a feeling it's not going to be banned for long, but I feel like it's going to come back, but not for the right reasons, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of know what you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't want to get too into it. It's a very heated topic here in the country, but it's a little dicey over here.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, I
Germany
can
accepting
imagine.
Germany accepting immigration applications.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Weird.
can I move?
Or you just come to Switzerland. It's way more beautiful here.
I've never been to Switzerland.
And we have way lower taxes, more beauties in the landscapes. There are so many reasons to come to Switzerland instead of Germany. Trust
Is this
me.
an ad? Is this an ad for Switzerland?
Exactly.
I would love to visit. I've traveled quite a bit, but I haven't really traveled to a lot of parts in Europe.
Okay. So where have you been in Europe? That's interesting.
Well, technically, the UK is still part of the continent. So I've been to London. I didn't really travel too far in the UK, and I've been to Paris. So only 2 locations.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard that Paris is like so beautiful in the stories, but actually not a beautiful city. Is that true? I wasn't there yet.
I only spent 3 days there for an event. And have you ever been to New York City?
No, I wasn't in the UK, but I really want to go.
So I've been to New York plenty of times, and it's very romanticized. And New York City is a big city, but the region where it's located at doesn't all look like that.
Yeah.
But when I went to Paris, Paris looks like 5,000 New York cities.
Okay.
Which threw me for a loop. I'm like, whoa, there's city buildings everywhere. The architecture is beautiful. I love that everyone rides bikes there, which you don't really get here in the States. Maybe in New York, but everywhere in the States, you don't really see bike riders. And even then, so it's not safe to ride a bike in our country.
Okay, that's such a European thing, even though Switzerland is not part of the European Union. But it's the same continent as well. We're like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Right between France and Germany, actually. So it's such a bicycle, how do I say? Friendly place.
Yeah.
You have, even now when it's winter and it's super cold and even snowy outside, you see people on a bike driving to work every day. And for me, because I have to go with the car to the work as an electrician, because I have to got my stuff in the back, for doing reparations and stuff. And in the morning when it's super dark because of the winter, that's so dangerous,
Yeah.
Just because sometimes you see the bicycles way too late. They are like forced by law to have a light.
Like the reflectors and stuff?
Yeah, and like an active light that is shining. But some people are riding like super old bikes. The light is like very, very dark. And also they don't think about, hey, let me put on an orange jacket or a yellow jacket.
The vest.
Let's just like, it doesn't have to be a vest. It can be a regular jacket, But like there are bicycle riders that are wearing like full black clothes and you nearly don't see them.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it's, I don't like the winter time because I have to drive through the whole city the whole day long, like from one place to another and get a lamp fixed there, then get a switch fixed somewhere else. And that's a little bit of a pain. And we have a very bicycle friendly location here.
Bike racks everywhere. That like traveling outside of the States, it makes me jealous of other countries. Like Our country has a lot of good and bad as far as like transportation. I drive my car everywhere, but I work at home, so I don't drive too often
Mm-hmm.
at this point. But after visiting Japan, like I'm so jealous of Japan's
Mm-hmm.
transportation system. Taiwan as well, South Korea's transportation, like everywhere else, like public transportation is so good. Like, why can't we have that?
Okay. Yeah, I really want to go to visit like the US in the next like I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of hard for me now that I get more and more into this making content stuff and
Yeah.
being busy with music.
Just make content on the road. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, if the content starts to like pay my bills, definitely I would go all around the world then.
Yeah.
So you work at home as a full-time content creator or
Yeah. So, music
that's amazing.
production and creator, and I do a lot of work for other entities as well that I don't talk about too much.
Hmm.
But I work with in esports, so competitive gaming. But I'm on the production side, so sometimes I do in-house production with the company I work with. I've even gotten the chance to score commercials for their partners, which is really cool. I was like, whoa, I've never scored a commercial before, but it's just making a track to a video, right?
That's so amazing. That's the
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream. I swear I would love to do exactly the same. But who knows? Maybe in a few years.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where you're just doing it long enough that something just landing on your plate. You're like, oh, sure, why not? Let's try it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying on different edges, you know.
Yeah.
Also, a friend of mine came up to me like, "Can you mix and master my podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh.
sure." So I got like a customer now for at least a thing,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm doing music because of the passion, and so whether or not it's like paying my bills, I will just keep
Keep
digging
doing it.
and grinding.
Yeah.
And talking about the music, let's showcase your song that you have sent me
Hey.
from the Legend of Lo-Fi. That's actually a good name for the album.
My wife actually came up with the name. I'm like, you know what? That's great.
That's a vibe. It's so smooth. Yeah, I totally get why they ask you to make music for commercials and everything. It sounds so good.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank
Also,
you.
like our recent collaboration, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm actually really stoked for that to come out. I told my wife about it. I was like, I've never played Room Factory. She's like, I played it. You did a track with it? I was like, yeah.
It's really an amazing game. I recently discovered it, and
Oh, okay.
over the winter holidays, I spent so many hours playing that. And yeah, I love these cozy games.
Yeah, especially since it's wintertime over here, because I'm in Texas,
Mhm.
we're getting colder winters, which is interesting. And so
Okay.
we're staying inside more. And during December, all I played was I got back in Stardew Valley because the 1.6 update came out for the Switch. And I was just like, I clocked in about over 60 hours within a week on Stardew
Wow.
Valley.
That's like a full work week time. That's great.
Yeah. Like I
Yes.
finished all my work for the year. I'm like, okay, it's time to just game.
Yeah, and over like the Christmas holidays, it's anyway, the year is like done. It always feels the same every year. There's like Christmas, and the week later is New Year, and
Yeah.
even though we have the most days as an official holiday here, and then you don't go to work, or in most cases you are even not allowed to go working then, because we take that super serious. And
The dream.
yeah, and even though there are like people that have to like work some days in between, that are not official holidays, they always tell the same, like, yeah, I have to go to work, but we don't do anything anyway. Most of the time we're just like chatting or drinking coffee and wait till the year is over.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then here for the winter holidays, because as a creator and like a music producer, you're kind of like on the clock 24/7. You like kind of make your own schedule unless you have deadlines and stuff. But when I was in school, high school and college and stuff, it was working kind of like the traditional schedule where you don't get that many days off. But for college, we had a month off for holiday break, and we would get off second week of December and off for a month and come back towards the mid to late January. But if you're in primary school or grade school, you only get 2 weeks off. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, here it's always 2 weeks off during the winter. And the long holidays in school are always during the summer, because it's also like way too hot to sit in a closed room.
Yeah.
When it's like 35 degrees outside. So
35. I think that's 80 for us.
Oh yeah, you have completely weird measurements.
Yeah. Yeah, we're 95. So here in Texas, because it gets hot during the summer, that is normal. When it gets to triple digits, that's hot. Like that's hot. 95 here during the summer is normal. That's bearable because a lot of the times we have air conditioner. So, but I know in Europe or in the region where you're at, air conditioning isn't normally installed into buildings.
No. Yeah. It's actually kind of rare. You have air conditioners in stores or like public places, but really a few people got air conditioning inside their houses. And also the most school facilities are not that new. So I remember when I was a child, there was no air conditioning at all.
Oh, no.
But sometimes we went like outside and had like some lessons outside in the nature, and that was amazing.
I used to have that when I was young. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know if they do that still. I highly doubt it, but we had some classes that would take outside. It would also be science classes.
It was also the best, always the best thing, I swear. Because most of the time you did not pay any attention to the school topics at all. You just like hang outside, enjoy the sun, and
it was just
having a good life. Yeah, exactly. So you're also doing EDM music.
Yeah. So that is actually where I came from. Like EDM is my bread and butter.
Okay.
When I was in, it's alternative punk rock. That's like my true bread and butter. But when I started on YouTube, I was just like, a kid be like, oh, look at these cool YouTube videos. A Monster Cat became a thing in the early 2010s, and they were releasing really, really good music, and I just latched onto it. And this is after Skrillex released his album Bangers or Bangarang, sorry. And I really love Skrillex's dubstep style and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he morphed over the years, but
I love the Scary Monsters album.
Yes.
What's the full name? Scary Monsters and something else.
Yeah, he dropped like 2 albums at the same time.
I think it was around this time.
Let's see. My boy Skrillex. Oh. Yeah, Scary Monsters and sure. Spotify's not giving me everything. Okay, Spotify. That's so lame. But yeah, I was heavy into EDM, and I just wanted to make music like that.
Mm,
And I did that for like so long. I was trying to like perfect the genre. I never did, and I probably never will, but there's just so many subgenres of EDM that I really, really love. Electro House is like my favorite
mm,
one. Um, and then lo-fi started, or chill hop and boom bap, especially boom bap, started to make its way around 2017, 2018. I
mm.
believe it was Michael and Game Chops that released the first Zelda tape, Zelda and Chill. And I'm like, can I do that with Pokemon music? Because like my music channel was like all about Pokemon music.
Yeah.
And so I tried that out. I was like, oh, I can remix and make covers of tracks that normally wouldn't work in my usual style.
Mhm.
And I just kind of latched onto that. I still do EDM from time to time, but yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense with like this nostalgia game
Yeah.
covers in the lo-fi style. It's such a good harmony. I had a talk about that with Tenoshi, and yeah, it's kind of it's the vibe. It just fits, and it's funny. When I was a teenie, I had also like my punk rock and like the metal
Yeah.
years. It was also an amazing time, and I can clearly remember when this it's Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites,
Oh, there we go. That was the second one.
and when that album came out, I was so hyped for electronic music. That was kind of my first touch with it.
Yeah.
And I started my music journey as a house DJ.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Similar backgrounds. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And lo-fi kind of just hit something inside of me when it came up. I remember discovering the Chill Hop
Yeah.
YouTube channel, and it kind of get inside of me and never went away, living like rent free in my mind and soul, you know. So I decided to like give it a full, like my full focus only on
Yeah.
producing that. And it's so chill. I don't know. All the people I meet from this communities are great, and everything about it's just chill. I
Yeah.
totally enjoy that.
Chill vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it offered a different perspective on music for me. I never really studied jazz. And then coming into this new genre, I had to learn a few different tricks to what I was used to doing with other genres I was working with. I'm like, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that. What? I could do this? So,
It's also amazing having like both sides learned.
yeah.
Because I would say the fact that I start with producing electronic music first teached me so much more about like small details. Also,
Yeah.
like this rule of 4, 8, 16, that you have
Yeah.
to get something changed all 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars at
Yep.
least. And it really helps in the arrangement of just lo-fi, because
Oh, yeah.
you hear so many beats that are cool but super repetitive, you know, that have like a 8-bar beat made and just repeat it
Repeat it. Yeah.
for 2 minutes. That would say that was a big game changer to having both sides involved.
Yeah.
How long has it now been since you started with making EDM? So you started when this Bangarang album came out. You felt instantly inspired and
No.
hopped on it, or
It was around 2011. So I was on YouTube, but I wasn't making like I had a YouTube channel and I was just watching a lot of videos and stuff. This is like, this is like over 10 years ago at this point, almost 15. Oh my gosh, it's 2025.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't even say 10 years anymore. But I was heavy into Pokemon content, and it's definitely changed within the almost 20 years. Wow. But there was a channel called Poke Remix Studio, and he did a lot of techno and house Pokemon remixes. And I wanted my main YouTube channel to focus on Pokemon, so I was doing like different types of content before I landed on music to try it out. And I wanted to make Pokemon music like he did. And Monster Cat at the time was like very prominent in YouTube, and everyone was like using it for their intros and outros. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to do that. And so I just kept at it. I started, I think, in 2011, and it was just different types of genres. A lot of it, in my opinion, sounds like trash. But people go back to it, they're like, this is great. I'm like, are you sure?
But that's like the natural growth of an artist. Because, if I listen back to the first beats or also the first techno songs, all sounds like trash.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, that just means that you grow a lot. And I would say, just from the perspective of a listener, he can vibe with really bad produced music as well. The song don't have to be perfect at all. That's kind of an illusion that we artists sometimes even struggle with. You know, this being too perfectionistic. Probably it's the right word in English, but you
Perfectionist,
yeah. And after realizing that sometimes the listeners just don't care, that was such a game changer, I swear.
Yes. So what's funny is that because my wife, she was a fan before we became a thing. And she will listen to my music through other people's content because I allowed other creators to use my music for whatever. And what's funny is that I now have her trained to nitpick my mixes when I tell her, be like, hey, does it sound good? Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, before you didn't care about so-and-so, but now you're listening.
Yeah, okay. I see that point. And it's helpful and it's kind of funny. From groupie to wife somehow. So you're living like the perfect rock star life, you know?
I'm perfectly happy where I'm at right now. Yeah.
That's great.
Like, I'm in my cave. I work on what I like to work on. You know, obviously there's good days and bad days. It just comes with the territory. And I hope to keep doing this for the rest of my life. It's fun.
Yeah. I would wish that for you, because I wish that for everyone to get like the passion. Just in first place, you have to find your passion, right? So
100%.
You have to find it first and then aim for it and just keep doing it no matter what. And
it's a lot of cards in place. But I will say, people say like it's all about luck, but you have to have the foundation for that luck to land and stick, if that makes sense.
Exactly. I would even say it's not about luck at all. It can go lucky, let's say you're making a track and it goes super viral.
Yeah.
But for the track to go super viral, you first of all have to make a super good track.
Yeah.
And you don't just like decide, okay, today I'm gonna hop into music production. Let's check out 5 music production tutorials, make the first beat, and this one will go viral. Usually it's like you made 100 songs, 99 of them are mid or shit, and then the number 100 will blow off. And it's always a lot of work behind that. I saw this interview with Jack Harlow. Probably you know the rapper.
Well,
really lovely, like new school rapper guy.
Gotcha. I'll check it out.
And Yeah, he told in the interview that a lot of people are saying that he was super lucky because now he blew off and he now works with like big artists like Drake and Eminem and whatnot.
Yeah.
But then he was like, it's not about luck at all. I made like really mid music for 10 years. Nobody cared about. And obviously if someone blows up and become recognizable and everything, people assume that this happened overnight.
No, it's usually a long-term game.
It's never like that. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are a naturally born singer, for example, and you kinda blew up with a super cool song that goes viral, then it can be like a natural born talent. But I guess that would not happen on the lucky side if you're not practiced like your entire childhood as well.
It's like turning your talent into a skill. People say it's the same thing, but I think it's 100% different.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It can be easier if you have a natural born talent.
Yeah.
But you still have to work for it.
You still have to, hone that skill to make that talent worthwhile.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see in the background you're super passionate about Pokemon. So many plushies.
How can you tell?
But I don't know. It's one of the best RPG games in my opinion.
I agree.
With the story and everything. How do you see like the progress of the newer games? Are you still fully happy with them, or?
So there are for each generation in each game, there's elements good and bad. One thing that I've realized, especially with the newer iterations of the games, I'm getting older. Thus, I have less time to replay the games over and over and over again like I used to as a kid. And now I'm looking at games from a development standpoint, because eventually I want to develop my own game, and from a music standpoint.
Okay.
And so I'm looking through the games in a different lens than when I did when I was like, 8, 9, 10 years old, which is so weird. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice while I'm on the podcast.
You don't have to. You can freely talk.
With Scarlet and Violet, it's no secret that the game performance is not the best, especially on the Switch. But it doesn't completely ruin, at least my experience with the games. But I will say it has deterred me from going back to the games consistently and playing them over like I used to as a kid. But I will say Scarlet and Violet has one of the best lineups of soundtracks in the longest time. I really resonated with a lot of the music in the games this time around, which it's been a while. There was like a lull period where the music wasn't hitting for me as much. There may be like a few tracks that really connect, but this one really blew a lot of things out of the water.
Okay,
then,
I can totally agree on the soundtrack aspect that, the game and how it was built up, that you get like your legendary within 5 minutes.
I don't know if I agree with that.
That's so weird. I don't know what the developers thought about that.
But story-wise, I will say this is the best storyline besides Pokemon Black and White. Black and White had a god tier story, but the storyline for Scarlet and Violet, probably the best ever. The soundtrack and the story is great. The Pokemon that was introduced, also great. It was just the performance of the games, but the entirety of this generation, which is 9th generation as a whole, is really good. Yeah. Also, I don't know if you pay attention to the competitive side of Pokemon, but this is the best competitive gimmick.
Okay, yeah.
Ever. Yeah.
I was a little bit into this competitive side in Pokemon when played Black and White, actually.
Yeah.
But not professional at all. I then realized about IV training and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And a friend brought me into that. But I haven't played it in a competitive way. Like the last few releases of the new Pokemon generations, I just get them, play them through the whole story, and then I put them aside somehow.
And that's okay. That's okay.
That's totally okay. And you're so right with getting older, and it just doesn't connect as much when you're like grown up and playing video games. It's so hard to find, like, in my age now, it's hard to find a game that super sticks to you and you can play for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
I would say the last one that really get me into this feeling was Black Myth Wukong, because they did so many things so good.
The physical release actually came out last month. I was looking for the physical release and realized it was only digital, because I was calling my games. I was like, "Hey, you got Black Myth Wukong?" We're like, "It's only digital, so no." I'm like, "What?"
So, are you collecting the physical games?
Yes.
You have a wall with all the games lined up?
I got like a shelf over here.
Okay,
but,
I see.
There's another shelf in the other room with other platform games, especially because physical media is dying, and we have to try to preserve as much physical media as we can while we can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really hampering down on physical media, but it's a waste. Yes, it is a waste, but I like collecting them.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're collecting them, it's still having like two, let's say, it's not only get the game, that you also have it as a decoration, and you don't throw it like away in a year. Exactly. So it's not really a waste in that opinion.
Yeah.
You have to excuse me for a second. I have to let my cat outside the room.
It's okay.
She's like screaming for it. Okay, she can't decide whether she wants to go outside or not, but the second cat is joining her now.
Oh, you have two cats?
Yeah. So I have one, but my girlfriend have also one, and we moved in since a year, and now they finally kind of friendly to each other.
Aw. Bonded pair.
It took a while, so that they become friendly to each other.
Aw.
It was a journey. So you said that you want to get into game development.
Yeah, but it's more so of like a project for me personally, like a solo dev. It's like I have a bunch of ideas and I have a lot of skills. It's just making them tangible. I'm not trying to aim for like a AAA development game, but, just a story that people can enjoy, something that I enjoy, like something I created and I share with the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long this will take. It's just a project that I want to get into just to show my skills and I want to share with the world type of vibe.
But that's amazing. I mean, you told me that you're now played Stardew Valley for a long time, and I guess this game shows that you can do the whole game completely by yourself without any big company behind that, and it can just blow off. And super simple, but amazing.
Simple in concept, but the execution is what makes it, like, it hits the heart. It hits the heart. And there's a lot of games like that out now. Like a good example is Undertale. Toby Fox and Timmy worked on that game, and Undertale is like that's a hood classic at this point. Fishing with Your Friends, I think that is web fishing. That was made by a single developer.
Okay.
Yeah, Lethal Company, the game that popped off in late 2023, early 2024, single developer, and they came from Roblox. I'm like, that is so cool. And there's so many tools and resources out there now that wasn't accessible 10, 15 years ago. Like if you took the time, effort, learn everything that you can, have a creative mind, you can make anything that you want.
Yeah, that's true. Same with music. I mean, the time we're living in, it's so easy to get started.
Yeah.
Easier than ever. I mean, you can just get a good, decent iPad and start making beats with it. I had now 2 guests on the podcast that are nearly exclusively producing on an iPad.
Wow.
And they're doing really good music, so you don't really get a big of a difference. But yeah, in the lo-fi genre, you don't need that super perfect mixed song, right?
Yeah.
It's not like EDM you will instantly hear when playing it in a club or let's say a festival, or just like a really good audio system.
Yeah.
If the low end always makes or breaks the track.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like, especially nowadays, there are still things I struggle with in EDM just because my style has, like, you have a style and you try to change your style, but it just gets refined or tuned to whatever you're doing. So, like, low ends I usually struggle with, but I'm always learning something new with messing with low ends, how to make the bass deeper, clearer, and more color for one, and then chord stacking, which I was always against when starting out. It would be like one section for chords, that's it. But no, now I'm doing like, 3 to 4 sounds for chords, which I'm like, oh, that's why they do that. Oh, it's like it's clicking. And with lo-fi, there's still things I struggle with personally with lo-fi and chill things. I like melodics quite a bit. And there are a lot of times where I just have too many ideas going on and I have to simplify that. Do you ever feel that way when it comes to production? Like you have too many ideas and you have to simplify it?
I'm completely the opposite. I love it super minimalistic. My beats are usually, I try to keep them as minimalistic as possible, but get the most out of it. Let's say I take an instrument for the chords. Sometimes I layer them, like with 3 different layers, but playing the same thing. That makes it kind of complex because one layer got a delay, making it like moving a bit, and the other layer has like a heavily reverb, so it sounds full. But what I cannot do at all is composing or really coming up with, let's say you have a melody and then you compose a counter melody to that. And all this stuff is so hard for me. I love like the producer aspect. Also, what I really enjoy is doing mixes. I mean, that's why I also love collaborate with others. Then I can just do what I can do the best. Like come up with some groovy drums and then just take the whole concept and get like 20 stems and like, do the whole mix. Put some effects here, put something there, or getting midis and then do like different layers and all that kind of stuff. Also the technical side really gets fast into my head, like learning that technical side in the production. But I spend hours and hours and hours on watching videos about how to come up with melodies, how to play chords, how to get that deeper music theory that is needed when composing, and it just doesn't stick. It
just flies over.
Yeah.
I feel that. I didn't really study music traditionally. I had 7 years of choir and then I picked up piano. And so a lot of the music theory came with doing the music, if that makes sense. There are times I had to cross-reference, be like, what is this term? What is this effect I'm trying to get? I can't read sheet music fluently, but I can look at a piece of sheet music and then pick out the notes after like spending about like 3 minutes figuring out what key I'm in.
Yeah, I see that. I can look at sheet music and like, oh, that's nice thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, I mean, that just translates to hitting 4 chord or 4 notes on the left hand and then 2 notes on the right hand and just do 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 do. I'm like, okay.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm totally clueless. It's like, yeah, I look at that and it's like a language that I just don't speak. I know, like, to tune your drums to the rest of the track, you know, and to get everything in key. That's like this basic music theory that you need for producing that I learned super fast and truly understood that. Also, now I'm able to make chords, so super happy about this progress. But
that's like my favorite thing in music is getting the chords down. I was like, ooh, oh, that sounds nice.
And what really helped me a lot is switching to Logic, because it shows you which chord you're playing. So you just press some buttons and then it tells you you're playing a chord. Like, and if I see that's like a C major 7, I know I'm doing something right. Then just experiment with it, play like for half an hour to get like 4 chords together in a good structure, and yeah.
See, you said C major 7, and like in my mind, I'm like, I know what that sounds like, but I can't read it on sheet music. But if you play the chord and I just go on my MIDI keyboard, I'm like, oh, that's literally do to so to T and La or whatever. I'm like, oh, because I learned music through chords. So instead of seeing C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, I see do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Okay, that's also cool. That's also cool. For me, it's like mathematically, all the white keys starting with a C. I know where the C is because of the structure of the black keys. And then just like skip one, skip one, skip one, and then you have the chord. It's the easiest chord on earth.
Like, music is such a universal language that people perceive it differently, which is so cool.
Yeah, I also saw this video from beat producer Nick Mira. He's the guy who produced nearly all of the Juice WRLD beats.
Oh, wow.
And he has such nice type of explaining stuff. He's like, yeah, you pick a note, let's say a C, and then you count up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you go from the C and you count up 7. So now you have a C major or C minor. But if you go up 3 instead of 4 from the C, then you have the opposite, like the minor or major. I cannot even say if which is which, but I got that concept. And then going up 7 notes from the middle finger in this chord gives you the 7th. And I was like, wow, that's so easy. I totally get it. It's numbers. It's just
I go as like happy chord, sad chord, nice chord, weird chord, accidental chord.
Yeah. And in the end of the day, it's just about emotions. Yeah. I mean, even if you have no idea at all, that's how I started. And when doing electronic music, it's actually nice. You don't have to be that strict on it. Let's say for techno, you just put in a synthesizer, you press some keys. If it sounds good, it sounds good, you know?
Yes.
And if it sounds bad, it sounds bad. And depending on the day, the mood on the date that you're making this song, you think, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Or let's say you're in a super sad mood, you're doing a song, then you forgot about the project and pick it up like a week later and you're in super happy mood.
You're like, what's going on here?
Yeah, you open the project and you're like, oh, that sounds like trash. Let's delete it. Let's do something else. And yeah, music theory and the understanding of it really helps. also to get like the workflow going, because now my goal is always to finish a song without the mix and master, but in one session the song have to be done,
Yeah.
if possible. And if it's sounding great but you have like some time issues, then it's okay. But I usually aim for getting the structure down in one session, and having like the intro, the middle part, let's say the quiet break, and then second drop and the outro, just so you don't have to compose new stuff to it when working on another day. Because then the song is done and it captured the mood that you had. And so the emotion is like closed within this project. And yeah, mixing, mastering is just technical stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't like apply to this. Otherwise, I really struggle with it. Like, let's say, starting in one mood and then 1 week later to hop on that just to finish the song. It never ends up well.
Yeah. A lot of the times for my mixes, it depends on the genre. With lo-fi and chilled hip hop, I'm able to kind of crank that out. Crank that, soldier boy. Crank that out pretty well because, like you said, EDM kind of gave us like a basis of song structure, right? You have your intro, you have your meat and potatoes, maybe a verse, and then a breakdown. And if you go for a loop, how much do you want to loop it? And then you get ready to end it off. There's a album project that I'm working on. I'm trying to get a good chunk of it done before I send it off to someone. The first song that I worked on out of the project, because this is a cover album, so I have these songs kind of down to a T in my mind and my heart. Like, it's coming from the heart because I really love this series that I'm working on.
You don't want to spoil it already?
I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil it.
No exclusive content. Sorry, listeners.
Nah. There's only about 2 people that know that I'm working on this.
Okay.
My wife and the person that I'm sending this to.
Okay, fair. Fair point.
And the first song I worked on, like, I played the series over and over and over again. And I haven't mentioned the series in this podcast, and I'm not going to mention the title because that'll give it away.
Okay.
And
fair.
The structure, because a lot of it deals with piano. The composer is a pianist at heart. I can't even give away their gender because that'll give it away.
Okay, fair. You're making it really difficult to guess.
Yeah. Just know it is an RPG. I'll say it's an RPG. I play a lot of RPGs. And because I play piano, I'm like, I want to make sure I have my piano parts down, then build chord, and then get the drums down, because the drums will help get the rest of the song structure out. Because with lo-fi hip-hop, in my mind, it's pretty easy getting the song structure down, especially if you have the beat. So I build out the full beat first, and then I break it down, take away elements, add elements, filters, all of that.
Yeah.
And then you basically have your song. You just put notes to it. And with EDM, I'm a little bit more strict on my formula because, like you said, I want to be a perfectionist when it comes to that, but it's hard. You can't.
And you don't have to.
I know.
It can really stop you from making something great, in my opinion, on being too perfectionistic. For example, having like that in EDM, that for sure, I guess, when you think now the drop comes.
Yeah.
But then the artist leaves 1 bar extra. So the build-up is 9 bars.
That.
Yeah, exactly. And this is completely out of the formula, and that makes the track so special then.
Yeah.
You have to break the rules in music or in art in general. That's so important.
Hey, and you know what? Key shifts. I was about to ask, have you played Octopath? But we just had this conversation about it.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, the soundtrack for Octopath, though, I highly advise that everyone who's listening to this podcast, including you,
Yeah.
listen to the soundtrack for Octopath. The composer, Yasunori Nishiki-san, he breaks the rules. And he lets you know that key changes are okay. And I learned so much music theory by trying to break down how these tracks were able to seamlessly transform into something new. I'm like, what? It is such a good soundtrack to study. Even if you never played the game before.
Yeah.
The music is great. The tonal shifts that happen in the soundtrack is great, to where I actually incorporated some of those techniques into my original music, commissioned pieces, and my own mixes. I'm like, this dude's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, key shifts are super interesting because it really helps to give the song a story.
Yeah.
Starting at one point and going into something completely new.
Yes.
I imagine
all because of one note.
Yeah.
One note that transforms everything.
Yeah. Also, I know it from, I cannot say a song example right now, but it's already been years when I discovered this, just to have like instant changes between major, minor, like making it super interesting, building it up like in a good movie. When something crazy is about to happen, that you have this major minor shifts all the time, like one chord this way, one chord this way, and it's happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. Oh, what's going to happen now?
You're just like, how is it going to resolve? And then it ends on a, I call it the re chord, which is the D note next to the C. That's like the re, in my opinion. And so if you're going from happy, sad, the re in that chord, it's unsure. You're left with a question mark of how it's being resolved. And I think that's such a cool technique, but it's a good but. There was a period in pop music very recently where songs started off on that specific note, and you don't know where it was going to go. You don't know if you're going to end on happy or sad because it started off on the unsure chord.
Oh,
music is
interesting.
So weird.
Interesting. I love exactly this about that's the content of music theory that really fascinates me.
Yeah. It's just like, you can do that? And I've actually stolen that idea. No idea is original, but I incorporated into other mixes to see how it worked. And I understood. I'm like, you're right. There's no rules in music. You start off on that, and you could go wherever you want with that chord.
Yeah, exactly. And let's say if you're consistent, let's say you play a chord progression that is totally out of any scale.
Yeah.
But you being consistent with that, then you just invented a new scale.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
Pretty much.
And I'm kind of happy that I did not had like a music school experience in that way. I tried to learn the guitar when I was younger. Totally untalented for that. I had a lot of fun playing it, but I had absolutely no talent.
Gotcha. I mean, you can still build it into a skill.
Yeah.
Was it the finger placements that got you?
Yeah. Also, this body, is it the same in English? Where you have like one finger like this and hold all the notes with one finger. I don't know. My finger's just not straight enough to do that.
Same. That's why I stick to piano.
Piano is super cool. It's so relaxing. Sometimes I just like sit down before of a session and I just randomly play something.
Just jam out?
Yeah, just jam out without any knowledge, and sometimes it sounds good. Let's say most of the time it sounds good because you cannot really do something wrong with that.
Like if you play a wrong note, hey, that's just part of the structure.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly. It's an Easter egg. in this track.
Pretty much. I've actually struggled within the recent years of not playing the piano consistently because I was so like worked up on making content, making music, that I never really set aside time to, keep my skills sharp. They're not, in my opinion, they're not that sharp. They're just like not advanced, but not beginner. I'm like in a mid-range where I can play a piece and I can play a piece from ear, but I'm not like Kyle Landry. Oh my God, that dude's insane. And Lucas Cooper, when he started doing VGM Pianist, that project last year, I reached out to him because we were talking about just piano in general. I was like, hey, can I be on these projects? It will force me to play piano more often so I can have my skills not diminish. And it's been helping quite a bit. But I had to force myself instead of like, just coming home from school, pop open a YouTube tutorial and just learning a piece. And now that I'm older, it's like playing games now. I have to force myself to set aside time that's not work related to do the things I used to do for fun.
Yeah.
That sounds negative. That sounds negative.
But I totally get your point. And it's actually so funny for people that are like real gamers. You can make so many tasks easier in life, just like treat it as a game.
Yeah, gamify things.
Yeah, exactly. Just like what I learned for myself is like doing to-do lists is like a quest log.
Yeah.
And it feels so great to like make that check.
Yeah, check things off.
It's really like a gamer with heart and soul. Then you can kind of cheat through your life by making let's say unwanted exercises or something. Just put it into a quest and then you're super hyped about finishing it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like you go to bed knowing that you have quests the next morning. So when you wake up, be like, all right, what do I got to do? And there are times I look at certain tasks, I'm like, I'll hold it up until the end of the day. But I'm like, I got to check it off, or, flexible, move it to the next day.
Oh, something that I learned that really helped me in life about exactly this is there's actually a book about that called Eat the Frog. I have bought the book, but I haven't read it because I instantly understand the concept. You don't really have to read the book. You just have to understand this one simple concept, and it's whatever you think, I don't want to do this with all my heart, do it as the first task when waking up, because after that, your day's great.
That is true, yeah.
And I really started doing the tasks that I really don't want to do at first. And after a while, let's say you have repetitive tasks. For me, it was, for example, sitting in front of the camera and doing like content for Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And I really hated that in the beginning. And then I started to do this task as the first task when I came home from work, from my day job. And it took me like 1 or 2 months after
to
that.
Get the groove going.
It didn't bother me at all. Then it was just a task in my notebook. And when I see, okay, do a video about this and that. Okay, cool. No stress about it at all. And
I like that approach.
And it's the biggest cheat code. And you can really put that on everything. I also use this same concept at work. Let's say I have a list of tasks that I have to do in my just daily job.
Yeah.
And some of them I love to do, and some of them I hate. And since I started switching the priorities of the hated work, doing that first, I'm not having bad days. It's like, otherwise you think the whole day about, okay,
what you don't want to do, basically.
Exactly. And this negativity even though it's always in your head.
Yeah.
And by getting rid of that, it's the biggest life change for a happy life.
I like that. There are tasks I have been putting off, some important ones, just because I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to make content instead. I want to work on this project. I have to put that into practice tomorrow.
Yeah. Trust me, it will really change your life after like 1 month of constantly implementing this little thing into your life. It really makes a lot easier.
Gotcha.
I can really suggest that to everyone who's listening. And I don't know, I heard about this in a podcast, and the book was mentioned, and then I instantly ordered the book. But during the day, I thought about that over and over again. I'm like, why have I ordered the book? I can just instantly do it. It's not a hard to understand concept.
It's like, why do you need a book to tell you to do that? Just do it.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I get that.
Exactly. But if someone needs the extra motivation, I really love the title of the book. It's Eat the Frog.
Eat the Frog.
Eat the Frog.
I have the tab pulled up, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually, I guess, from the author's side of perspective, just how he called this task that he really don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's like
I love the cover of it.
Yeah, is it the one with the frog on top?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But yeah, just do the task.
Just do the tasks. Exactly.
Yeah, because you're right. The rest of your day is just, now you can do the things that, like, you have the energy to do the things that you want to do.
And you're super motivated. It feels like having a super heavy backpack on you, and then you just turn it off.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same feeling.
Yep, definitely gonna put that into. I'll report back in 2 months.
Oh yeah, sure. That would be a fantastic topic.
Like an update.
Yeah, if you're up for it, just let's do a new episode in 2 months. Maybe then you can already announce the big project.
Yes.
Because now you got me excited and curious about that. I digged into your music since we reached out about this podcast, and it's so good. So big compliment about this. And yeah, I was super happy when asking you about the collaboration of the Rune Factory track, that you like instantly was down for that. It's like, hell yeah.
I was like, let's see what we can do, you know? And I think it came out pretty good.
It did. And I guess it will be released nearly at the same time as this podcast. Because I was super productive in the last few weeks. Did like 2 recordings per week. Just inviting guests. It really, like, I don't know how. I always had this voice in my head, do a podcast. And it's so much fun.
Like, it's one of those things that if you have an idea and you want to do it, it's not going to get done unless you do it. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, my whole, let's say, struggles with coming up with content ideas just to have my Instagram and TikTok and everything busy, it's gone. There are so many good videos you can just cut out of the from the talks and just have them, and then your face is every day on the screen of someone. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And also helpful. That's why I try to build in like this helpful life philosophies and stuff. I try to build that in every episode just to kind of motivate people. It's besides music like my biggest how do I say, something that I really passion. I really like those all those books about philosophy and how to improve the life.
Basically, yeah. Some of them have been recommended to me just to improve your quality of life and then your outlook on life and how you perceive things. Like materialistic things don't really need, but they make you happy. But they make you happy.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't deny your happiness, you know?
That's true. It's all my mother used to say. It's always nicer to cry in a Lamborghini than in being homeless and cry then.
Yeah. And then also just like being appreciative of what you have, especially over the past 5 or 6 years. You know, there was a lot of bad in the world. I mean, there still is.
There still is a bunch.
Yeah. And I've helped my wife kind of change her outlook about things, you know. Oh, this and this is like terrible, but I kind of got this from my dad. There are like trivial things that don't really matter.
Yeah.
And that's helped my mental quite a bit. Also, staying off certain social media platforms has also helped. Because I don't want that to degrade my progress that I've made as a human being, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is also something that I kind of got like a realization on the path as an artist is or not just as an artist. Let's say you want to approach a career making like your own business or whatever.
Yeah.
You always have to grow in your personality first.
True.
Before other people will appreciate like your art or whatnot. And that just comes back to the fact that we said that it's never about luck.
Yeah.
It's never about luck. It's just like being constant and growing constantly. Grow your skills, grow your personality, because that's also important in our day and time that we live in. I mean, there are musicians that are going super viral because they're like very entertaining.
Yeah.
And like doing really silly videos. But also for that, you have to grow your personality to like take the step and like, okay, yeah, let's be cringe on the internet. That's not that easy, you know? It's absolutely not easy to do that.
Yeah, I've been through those growing pains, and there's still some things I'm trying to overcome. I'm very prominent on the camera, but it still takes me a bit to get the motivation to be on camera, read a script, X, Y, and Z. For the longest time, I never showed my face because the internet's still a scary place, but
It is.
I have thick skin now. Like I've had thick skin for about 10 years, but like look at me. Living in America, right? If I showed my face out to a predominantly white male audience who don't know who I look like, I'd be like, why? Why? You're not who I thought you were. But luckily, luckily, because the stuff I put out was received well enough that people didn't care, or people were more motivated and inspired, which shocked me. And now it's like, I don't care. You know, I feel like I need to show my face now more than ever. One, to prove that I'm not AI.
Yeah.
And two, it's like, yeah, I'm a real person. I look who I look like, you know? And it was a lot of stepping out of my comfort zone and adapting to things. So for at least my content, both music and videos and stuff, music wise, when I started incorporating lo-fi, that was an adaptation that first of all, I wanted to try it out, and I liked it enough to where I kept doing that.
Yeah.
And then I adapted my style, especially that it opened up the door for collaborations. I've done so many more collaborations because of that. And there was a time on my channel, I was like, I don't want to be worried about what the next mix is for every week. And so I got the idea of doing a live stream from Game Chops, that channel, and I contacted all the people I collab with, be like, hey, is it okay if I include the mix in the live stream? That was an adaptation that I had to put on my channel, and it's relieved so much stress. and then making a second channel for just non-music content. Another step out of the comfort zone, you know? Scripting outside of the comfort zone, composing for other projects outside of YouTube, outside of comfort zone. It's just constantly taking on challenges. Sometimes they fail, but you'll learn, and challenging yourself to take on new main quests.
Yeah.
That's how you grow, you know?
Exactly. There's like no failure at all. There's only learnings.
Yeah.
Like lessons in life. The only thing to really is not good to do is like making the same mistakes over and over again.
And now learning, yeah.
But I also read in a book, and that also opened my eyes a little bit, like, go chase mistakes. Go chase as much as possible, but try to only step in shit once and then learn from it.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Just do as many mistakes as you can once, learn from it, and go and search for new mistakes you can do.
Yeah, it's like you fix one mistake and you may end up stepping in another one, but you just learned how to combat that each time you chase that new thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and imagine living like that for 10 years and then looking back. And tasks that really scared you in the beginning are now part of your daily life. And
pretty much, yeah.
Or even the best thing is when something that scared you in the beginning starts to make fun, you know?
Sub bases scare me. They did, but I figured out how to make it fun. I'm like, ooh, but here's the thing. I now have a new mistake where my sub bases are too loud. So now I'm correcting those mistakes. They sound good, but they're too loud.
Okay, yeah, fair point. For me, it was about sub bass specific or bases. It was the Pultec trick, if you're familiar with that. That's this one... it's an EQ, I guess. Yeah, it's an EQ from Universal Audio. And initially, they released it as a standalone EQ.
Okay.
And in the instructions, it was written, you should not boost and cut at the same time. There's a boost and an add button. Okay. And then after someone just did it, this person figured out, okay, if I boost and cut at the same time, the EQ curves are not the same. So it takes a frequency, and you can adjust the frequency, I guess, at 10 hertz, 30 hertz, 60 hertz, and 100 hertz. And it really gives it an immense boost. And when doing techno, it was that trick that taught me, okay, I can put pressure on every bass that I want. And every time I checked it back in a club on a CD tray, plugged the USB in and played the song, the sub went like...
She's like... I get that.
And this came out from the break the rule aspect as well. And it's funny, the Pultec is the one... VST from Universal Audio that they give out for free most of the time. It was free, I guess, during this Christmas time.
Oh, the Black Friday sales, yeah.
Also, on every interface that you buy from them or every gadget, you get it just like, here, take it. And
go make something good.
And even though if not, there are like emulators of that. I guess Logic have their own stock plugin that's an emulation of that. So I can really, for everyone struggling with get pressure into the bass, just type in YouTube Pultec trick and
let's see.
It will fix all your problems.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, Pultec bass trick. All right, let me save that tab.
Yeah.
Do some research. All right.
Cool. And I would say we have now a very good time on the podcast. To come to the famous last question that I also asking every guest. If you could give one life advice that really helped you over like your life till now, to share with the listeners, could be about everything, don't have to be music related. Just like one advice that you would share with the world.
One piece of advice I can share with the world is if you have an interest, like even the smallest bit of interest in just anything random, try to learn as much as you can about that interest. And I guarantee you it'll turn into a passion that you can use as a skill later on in life, 100%. The internet is there. Please use it. Please use it and learn as much as you can.
Yeah, I can fully agree on that. Use the internet for learning and not to doom scroll through memes and stuff.
Be productive with your life.
Exactly.
You know?
That's a great one. That's a great one. And with that, I would say bye to the listeners and thank you very much for being on the podcast. It was a pleasure chatting with you. And I would say, let's do a follow-up podcast like in a month or two. Or
let's rock it.
And hear about if you eat the frog or not.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, right?